Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wondered why some people remain calm in chaos, hopeful in hardships, and confident in crisis? What is it that sets them apart? Today, let's explore a truth that can change the way we live our lives. How mentally strong people think differently. You see, life doesn't always go according to plan. Sometimes things fall apart. Relationships, careers, or dreams we've held close. But mentally strong people, they don't crumble under pressure, they grow stronger because of it. They don't ask, why me? They ask, what is this trying to teach me? That single shift in thinking transforms pain into purpose, obstacles into opportunities, and breakdowns into breakthroughs. Mentally strong people have an incredible ability to turn pain into power. They don't see suffering as the end of their story, but as the beginning of their transformation. When life knocks them down, they don't stay on the ground feeling helpless. Instead, they ask themselves, what is this moment trying to teach me? That question changes everything. It transforms pain from something that breaks them into something that builds them. Life will always have challenges, moments of disappointment, heartbreak, rejection, or loss. But the difference lies in how we choose to respond. The weak allow pain to define them. The strong use it to refine them. They turn obstacles into opportunities and turn wounds into wisdom. When a mentally strong person faces hardship, they understand that pain is a teacher, not a punishment. They don't resist or deny what they feel. They acknowledge it, learn from it, and then rise above it. The truth is, growth never comes from comfort. Every great success story is written with chapters of struggle. The seed has to break before it grows. The diamond has to endure pressure before it shines. Likewise, a strong mind learns to embrace the discomfort of growth because they know that on the other side of pain lies purpose. Instead of drowning in their difficulties, they swim through them with courage and conviction, knowing that every storm eventually runs out of rain. The most inspiring thing about mentally strong people is their mindset. When they encounter failure, they don't label it as the end. They see it as feedback. They analyze what went wrong, learn the lesson, and adjust their approach. They refuse to be victims of their circumstances because they know their greatest power lies in their response. It's not the situation that defines them, it's the strength of their perspective. They look at pain not as something that happens to them, but something that happens for them. Every challenge becomes a silent mentor, shaping their resilience, sharpening their focus, and strengthening their faith. In the face of adversity, mentally strong people remain calm and centered. They don't waste time blaming others or complaining about what's unfair. They channel their energy into solutions, not self-pity. They ask empowering questions like, how can I use this experience to become better? Or what hidden strength is this moment trying to reveal in me? These questions shift their focus from the problem to the possibility. This mindset doesn't make the pain disappear, but it gives it purpose. And purpose is what makes pain bearable. Pain, when handled with awareness, becomes a tool for transformation. Mentally strong people understand that pain can either paralyze you or propel you forward. It's not about avoiding discomfort, it's about using it wisely. They see how every difficulty prepares them for something greater, how every heartbreak teaches compassion, and how every loss teaches gratitude. They don't suppress their emotions, they process them, reflect on them, and then use them as motivation to rise stronger. Their strength doesn't come from never falling. It comes from always getting back up with a wiser heart and a clearer vision. This approach to pain gives them an unshakable inner peace. They don't chase happiness through external success alone. They find fulfillment in personal growth. They realize that the pain they experience today may be the very foundation of their strength tomorrow. Life will always test us. But mentally strong people know that each test is secretly preparing us for the next level. They've learned that pain is not the enemy, it's a messenger. It whispers, there's something inside you that needs to grow. Instead of resisting, they listen, learn, and evolve. Ultimately, mentally strong people live by one powerful truth: adversity introduces you to yourself. When everything is easy, you don't discover your depth. But when everything falls apart, you realize how powerful you truly are. Pain doesn't destroy them. It reveals their greatness. That's how they turn pain into power. And that's why nothing, not even the hardest storms, can break them from within. Mentally strong people have mastered one of the greatest skills in life: the ability to control their thoughts, not the world around them. They understand that while they cannot dictate the weather, the behavior of others, or the unpredictable circumstances life brings, they can always control how they think, feel, and respond. This mindset is what separates peace from chaos, resilience from reaction. The world outside will always be filled with noise, criticism, uncertainty, and change, but the world inside can remain calm if we learn to command our thoughts. Mentally strong individuals realize that true strength begins in the mind long before it shows in action. Everyday life offers endless opportunities to be disturbed. Someone cuts you off in traffic, a colleague undermines you, a plan falls apart, or an unexpected loss strikes. Most people react instantly. They complain, blame, or panic, allowing the external world to dictate their emotional state. But mentally strong people choose differently. They pause, they breathe, they reflect before responding. They understand that emotional control begins with mental clarity, and mental clarity begins with conscious thought. They ask themselves, can I control this? If the answer is no, they release it. If the answer is yes, they focus on what can be done. This simple discipline frees them from unnecessary stress and emotional exhaustion. Their focus is not on changing the world to suit their comfort, but on adapting their mindset to face any situation with grace. They've accepted a universal truth: control is an illusion when it's placed outside yourself. The only real control we ever have is over our thoughts, reactions, and perspective. This is why mentally strong people appear calm, even during storms. It's not because their life is easier, but because their inner world is stronger. They've trained their mind to be their ally, not their enemy. Instead of letting thoughts run wild with fear or frustration, they guide them toward understanding and action. Such people live with intentional awareness. They observe their thoughts like a wise guardian, filtering what deserves attention and discarding what drains peace. When negative thoughts arise, they don't suppress them, but they don't surrender to them either. They acknowledge the emotion, accept it, and then shift their focus towards solutions. For them, mental discipline is not about denial, it's about direction. They know that energy flows where attention goes. And so they choose to feed thoughts of clarity, gratitude, and progress instead of fear, doubt, and anger. This ability to manage thoughts also shapes how they view challenges. Where most see crisis, they see opportunity. Where others see loss, they see lessons. This isn't blind optimism, it's conscious thinking. Mentally strong people choose perspectives that empower them instead of paralyzing them. For example, when faced with failure, they don't spiral into self-criticism. They analyze, learn, and adapt. They believe that every situation holds a hidden advantage for those willing to look deeper. This calm acceptance doesn't make them passive, it makes them powerful. It allows them to make better decisions because they are not driven by fear or frustration, but by focus and understanding. In relationships, this control of thought translates into emotional intelligence. When someone insults or hurts them, they don't allow the words of others to control their peace. They remind themselves that everyone speaks from their own state of mind. Instead of reacting impulsively, they respond thoughtfully, protecting both their dignity and their energy. They understand that their peace is too precious to hand over to anyone else's behavior. This emotional restraint is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's the understanding that calmness is not the absence of emotion, but the mastery of it. By focusing on their inner world, mentally strong people create stability no matter what happens outside. They don't wait for ideal circumstances to feel content. They create contentment through perspective. They've learned that the key to happiness is not having everything under control, but being in control of themselves when everything feels out of control. This ability to think consciously, to choose their response over reaction, becomes their greatest strength. They remain centered in chaos, confident in uncertainty, and calm in confrontation. Ultimately, mentally strong people embody the truth that peace is not found in controlling life. It's found in mastering the mind. Their power comes from their ability to choose thoughts that serve them no matter what life throws their way. They live with quiet strength, knowing that when you can't control what's happening, you must control how you think about it. And that changes everything. Mentally strong people think differently because they add one simple but powerful word to every limitation they encounter. Yet, this single word changes the tone of their inner dialogue and transforms a statement of defeat into a declaration of growth. When others say, "I can't do this," they say, "I can't do this yet." That subtle shift carries an immense power. It replaces hopelessness with possibility, frustration with patience, and fear with faith. It allows the mind to remain open to learning rather than closing itself off to progress. The word "yet" becomes their bridge between where they are and where they want to be. The truth is, most people limit their potential not because of their circumstances, but because of the stories they tell themselves. When we believe that our skills, intelligence, or abilities are fixed, we stop trying the moment we fail. Mentally strong people reject that mindset. They live by the understanding that growth is always possible and that failure is not a signal to quit, but a sign to adjust. Every time they fall short, they don't take it as proof of their inadequacy. They take it as feedback that something needs improvement. This is how they transform temporary setbacks into permanent strength. Their belief in yet becomes a mindset of progress, a commitment to continual learning, and an act of quiet perseverance. They approach every challenge with curiosity rather than fear. Instead of asking, "Why can't I do this?" they ask, "What do I need to learn to get there?" This approach gives them ownership of their growth. They understand that mastery doesn't happen overnight. It's built through repetition, mistakes, and resilience. The word "yet" keeps them patient when progress feels slow. It reminds them that greatness is not achieved by talent alone, but by consistent effort. They embrace the journey, knowing that every small step forward, no matter how imperfect, brings them closer to success. In a world obsessed with instant results, mentally strong people value the process over the outcome. They are not discouraged by temporary failure because they know that even the most successful individuals once stood where they are now. Uncertain, struggling, and learning. They take inspiration from every story of perseverance, seeing themselves as part of that same narrative of growth. When a door closes, they don't assume it's the end of their opportunity. They believe it's redirecting them toward a better path they haven't reached yet. That mindset not only keeps them motivated, but also builds unshakable resilience. The yet mindset also influences how they treat themselves during difficult times. Instead of drowning in self-criticism, they practice self-compassion. They allow themselves to be learners, not perfectionists. They understand that being human means being in progress, not being perfect. This gentle patience gives them the emotional stability to keep moving forward without the weight of unnecessary guilt or shame. They celebrate small victories and treat mistakes as natural steps toward improvement. Every time they fail, they remind themselves, "I'm not there yet, but I'm closer than I was yesterday." That attitude keeps their confidence alive, even in the face of obstacles. This approach extends beyond personal achievement. It also shapes how they view others. Because they understand the value of patience and growth, they encourage people around them instead of judging them. They see potential where others see weakness. They inspire others by their example, by showing that growth is not a gift, but a choice. They know that every person is capable of change if given time, effort, and belief. Their optimism doesn't come from ignorance of struggle. It comes from experience with persistence. Adding yet to their thinking gives mentally strong people a sense of control over their journey. It prevents them from giving up when progress feels invisible and keeps their mind focused on the future rather than the failure. It's not about ignoring reality, it's about refusing to be trapped by it. They see themselves as evolving beings, capable of endless development, and that belief alone becomes a driving force in their success. They keep learning, adapting, and growing, not because they have to, but because they choose to. The word yet may be small, but it carries the essence of a powerful truth. No one is ever truly stuck unless they stop believing they can improve. Mentally strong people understand this, and that's why they never close the door on themselves. They know that with patience, perseverance, and faith in progress, everything that feels impossible today can be achieved tomorrow. Just not yet. Mentally strong people have learned to focus on self-growth instead of comparison. They understand that the real competition in life is not with others, but with the person they were yesterday. While many people spend their time measuring their worth against someone else's achievements, looks, or success, mentally strong individuals channel that energy inward, seeking progress rather than perfection. They recognize that comparison is an endless game with no winner. No matter how far you go, there will always be someone ahead of you in one area of life. Instead of being trapped in envy, they find motivation in their own evolution, reminding themselves that success is deeply personal and cannot be defined by someone else's timeline. In today's world, where social media constantly highlights other people's best moments, it's easy to fall into the trap of self-doubt. We scroll, we compare, and we start to feel like we're behind. Mentally strong people resist this mental drain. They know that what they see is not the whole picture. It's just the highlight reel. They train their minds to focus on their own journey, their own growth, and their own pace. They celebrate progress, no matter how small, because they understand that true confidence is built from personal consistency, not public validation. Every step forward, even if unnoticed by others, holds value. When mentally strong people see others succeed, they don't feel threatened, they feel inspired. Their mindset is not, why not me? But if they can, I can too. This attitude keeps them open to learning and growth rather than bitterness or resentment. They know that jealousy wastes energy that could be used for improvement. So instead of envying others, they study their success, learn from it, and use it as fuel to keep going. They celebrate others genuinely because they operate from abundance, not scarcity. They believe there's enough success in the world for everyone, and that someone else's achievement doesn't take away from their own potential. By focusing inward, mentally strong people create a healthier relationship with themselves. They understand that self-respect comes from effort, not from comparison. They constantly reflect on their goals, their values, and their progress. Each day, they strive to become wiser, calmer, and stronger than they were before. This mindset keeps them grounded and motivated, even when progress seems invisible. They measure success not by external rewards, but by internal growth, by the lessons learned, the habits improved, and the resilience gained along the way. This self-competitive mindset also fosters humility. Mentally strong people don't feel the need to prove themselves to anyone. They're confident enough to stay silent in success and gracious enough to stay composed in struggle. Their validation comes from within. They are driven by purpose, not performance. While others chase applause, they chase alignment. making sure their actions reflect their values. That's why they appear calm and secure even when others doubt them. They don't need the world's approval because they already trust their own direction. When setbacks occur, mentally strong people don't compare their journey to those who seem ahead. They understand that everyone's timing is different and growth cannot be rushed. They remind themselves that success built with patience lasts longer than success built with pressure. They focus on consistency, not speed. They take pride in the process, not just the outcome. They know that every small effort compounds into something greater, and that steady progress always outlasts quick bursts of motivation. Their mindset allows them to enjoy the journey as much as the destination. They appreciate where they are while working toward where they want to be. Instead of saying, I should be further by now, they say, I'm exactly where I need to be to learn what I must learn. This shift in thinking creates gratitude and peace. It frees them from the heavy burden of comparison and gives them the clarity to move forward with purpose. Mentally strong people radiate quiet confidence because they know who they are and what they're working toward. They live with the understanding that their only true competition is their past self, the one who was less focused, less patient, and less wise. Every time they choose growth over jealousy, effort over excuses, and discipline over distraction, they win. They rise a little higher, not to outshine others, but to outgrow their limitations. That's how they continue to evolve. Not by chasing others, but by chasing their best selves. One day at a time, mentally strong people have a remarkable ability to master their emotions rather than allowing emotions to master them. They understand that feelings are powerful signals, but poor decision makers. Where most people let anger, fear, or sadness dictate their actions, mentally strong individuals have trained themselves to pause, observe, and respond with clarity. They feel deeply, but they act wisely. Their emotional stability doesn't come from suppression, but from awareness. They allow themselves to experience emotion without becoming consumed by it. This ability gives them a calm strength that others can feel even in moments of chaos. They've learned that reacting impulsively may bring temporary satisfaction, but responding with intention brings long-term peace. When faced with provocation or disappointment, mentally strong people don't let emotions control their behavior. They know that anger and frustration often cloud judgment and lead to regret. Instead, they take a mental step back and ask themselves, what outcome do I really want here? This pause creates a gap between stimulus and response, a space where wisdom can emerge. By choosing to think before they act, they protect their relationships, their reputation, and their inner peace. They don't let a moment of anger destroy what took years to build. This level of discipline comes from understanding that real strength isn't in shouting louder or reacting faster. It's in remaining composed when everything around you tries to shake you. Their control over emotions also allows them to handle criticism and negativity gracefully. When others insult them, they don't take it personally because they recognize that people often project their own pain. Instead of reacting defensively, they choose empathy. They understand that hurt people, and responding with hostility only continues the cycle. This emotional intelligence helps them maintain dignity even in difficult interactions. They don't allow the moods or opinions of others to dictate their own state of mind. They've learned to differentiate between what deserves a response and what deserves silence. This quiet restraint is not weakness, it's maturity in its purest form. Mentally strong people also know that emotional mastery requires honesty with oneself. They don't pretend to be unaffected when they're hurt or disappointed. They allow themselves to feel every emotion, but they do so consciously. They journal, reflect, meditate, or pray to process their feelings in a healthy way. Instead of suppressing their emotions, which only leads to bitterness, They release them thoughtfully. This self-awareness helps them heal faster and grow wiser from each experience. They treat emotions as teachers, each one carrying a lesson about who they are and what they value most. Forgiveness is another hallmark of their emotional strength. They realize that holding on to anger or resentment is like carrying poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It only damages one's peace. So they choose to forgive not because others deserve it, but because they themselves deserve freedom. Forgiveness to them is not forgetting. It's releasing the emotional hold that pain has over their heart. By forgiving, they make room for healing, growth, and renewed energy. It's a choice that reflects their inner power, not their weakness. In moments of sadness or uncertainty, mentally strong people don't drown in self-pity. They acknowledge their pain, but don't let it define their future. They practice gratitude even during hard times, reminding themselves that no emotion lasts forever. They focus on what they can control, their attitude, their perspective, and their next step. This emotional discipline gives them resilience that most people admire but few understand. They don't run from pain, they rise through it with a calm acceptance that even this will pass. By mastering their emotions, they create balance in their personal and professional lives. They communicate with clarity because their words are not driven by impulse but by intention. They make better decisions because they can separate emotion from logic. Their relationships thrive because they bring stability, not volatility, into them. This inner harmony allows them to live with peace in a world that often rewards chaos. Mentally strong people are not emotionless. They simply refuse to be ruled by temporary feelings. They've learned that strength is not about ignoring emotions, but about understanding them. They transform emotional turbulence into emotional intelligence. They know that peace is not found in avoiding storms, but in learning how to stay calm within them. That is why their presence feels grounded, their energy feels steady, and their lives reflect a rare kind of balance that only comes from emotional mastery. Mentally strong people understand that protecting their peace is one of the most important responsibilities they have in life. They treat peace of mind not as a luxury, but as a necessity. In a world that constantly demands attention, energy, and approval, they know how to say no with confidence and without guilt. They realize that not every invitation deserves acceptance. Not every argument deserves participation. And not every problem deserves their emotional investment. Their peace is sacred, and they guard it carefully because they know it fuels their focus, creativity, and well-being. Without inner calm, even the greatest achievements lose meaning. Saying no doesn't come from arrogance or selfishness, it comes from clarity. Mentally strong people are clear about what truly matters to them, and that clarity allows them to make choices that align with their values. They know that every yes costs time and energy, and therefore every no is an act of self-respect. They don't allow guilt or pressure to push them into commitments that drain their spirit. They have learned that it's better to disappoint someone else than to betray themselves. By drawing firm boundaries, they maintain balance between giving and preserving, between helping others and caring for their own mental and emotional health. These boundaries also protect them from negativity. Mentally strong individuals are selective about the environments they enter and the people they keep close. They don't entertain gossip, drama, or toxic energy because they understand how easily such influences can disturb inner stability. When surrounded by negativity, they don't absorb it, they detach from it. They refuse to let external chaos invade their internal peace. They can listen with empathy without becoming entangled in other people's emotional storms. This discipline allows them to stay centered even when others around them lose control. Protecting peace also means protecting one's time. Mentally strong people use their time intentionally. They avoid unnecessary distractions, overcommitments, and digital overload that drain mental energy. They make time for silence, reflection, and solitude because they know that stillness is not emptiness. It's where renewal happens. They understand that productivity without peace leads to burnout, but peace with purpose leads to fulfillment. This is why they schedule rest with the same importance as work. They treat peace as a priority, not an afterthought. They also understand that protecting peace requires letting go of grudges, of the need to be right, of relationships that no longer align with growth. They release what no longer serves their higher purpose, knowing that holding on too tightly to what's toxic can suffocate the soul. Detachment for them is not coldness, it's wisdom. It's recognizing that sometimes walking away is the most peaceful and powerful decision one can make. They have no desire to fight every battle or win every argument because they value serenity over ego. Their maturity lies in choosing peace over proving a point. Mentally strong people protect their peace through self-awareness. They regularly check in with themselves, how they feel, what they need, and where their energy is going. They notice when they're overextending or when stress begins to cloud their clarity, and they take time to reset. Whether it's through meditation, journaling, prayer, or spending time in nature, they create personal rituals that restore balance. This conscious effort keeps their emotions grounded and their thoughts clear. They understand that mental strength isn't built through constant action, but through consistent reflection. When faced with chaos or conflict, they don't allow themselves to be dragged into emotional wars. They understand that silence is often more powerful than reaction. Instead of trying to control others, they control their own energy. They know that peace doesn't mean avoiding difficult people or situations. It means maintaining calm no matter where they are. Their composure becomes their strength, and their serenity becomes their shield. Protecting their peace allows mentally strong people to live with intention. They create lives that reflect balance instead of burnout. They don't chase everything, they choose carefully. They don't argue endlessly, they prioritize harmony. They don't cling to what disturbs them, they let it go gracefully. This discipline of peace allows them to lead with clarity, love with stability, and live with purpose. Their calmness is not a weakness, but a powerful statement that they control their world from within, not from without. It's this unwavering commitment to inner peace that allows them to thrive in a world full of noise while staying rooted in stillness. As we walk out of here today, let's remember, life will test us, people will challenge us, and time will change us. But if we choose to think like the mentally strong, with gratitude in our hearts, clarity in our minds, and compassion in our actions, no storm can break us. The goal isn't to avoid pain, it's to grow through it. The goal isn't to control life, it's to master our mind. So think differently, live deeply, and rise strongly, because that's how mentally strong people move through life. Thank you.